Hey everyone, I'm Armor Gaming, welcome back to my channel and welcome to Monster Analysis. Up for analysis today is a thunder monster known as Monster D.Vice. It's happened, technology has become smarter than monsters. This device can break any opponent's plan by predicting all their possible attack orders and then blocking them. Switch the Monster D.Vice off or lose. And here we have D.Vice as a child, teen, adult, not the most creative monster in terms of design. But now let's check out his stats. D.Vice has a power of 3080. Now when talking about only Thunder legendary monsters, he's only stronger than Thorder and Thunhair. So as you can see, this is a really low power. In fact, there's currently 15 legendary Thunder monsters, and a power like this puts him in 13th place. His life on the other hand, 28,651, is pretty darn good. A life like this actually puts him in 3rd place, tied with Exo skill. And as for his speed, 3,465, this is a really good speed. You see this speed a lot with Deny monsters, and in fact this speed puts him in 6th place, tied with monsters like Nexor and Tempest. And you're gonna see that having this amazing speed is definitely gonna come in handy later on. Unfortunately, his trait is not the best. It's immune to daze. There's definitely a lot better traits out there. Immune to blind, immune to freeze, immune to stun, harden. But it is what it is, he's immune to daze. And now let's check out his default and special skills. We have D.Vice attack, sending pics, nothing too special here. His special attack is called I'm Calling Your Mom. May stun all targets, may apply bad connection to all targets. So this is an AoE skill, it deals no damage, it stuns all the enemy monsters and it gives them bad connection. And as you can see from the little icon here, bad connection is like an upgraded version of slow. And I say it's an upgraded version of slow because unlike slow that only has a 40% chance of landing, bad connection is a guaranteed land. And let's not forget it is an AoE stun, so that's amazing. And if you couldn't tell earlier by looking at this monster's stats, this monster is not an attacker, he's going to be a supportive monster, and it appears he's going to be a really good supportive monster at that. In skills group 1 we have new apps, fast charging, there's nothing special about these two skills, but then we have low battery, deals moderate special damage, removes 50% of stamina from target, requires cooldown. You target a single enemy, it deals 35 damage, costs 28 stamina, has a 2-turn cooldown, and it's a stamina drain skill, specifically removing 50% of stamina. This is amazing. Yes, it deals very little damage, 35 is not high whatsoever, but it removes stamina of 50% of stamina. On your typical legendary enemy monster, that's 70 stamina points. This is a pretty amazing skill for a skills group 1 skill, so you can only imagine the other skills being a lot better. Still, this is one skill you may or may not want to run. In skills group 2 we have slow connection, deals heavy thunder damage, may slow down target. This skill deals 50 damage to a single enemy, costs 28 stamina, and it has no cooldown. Although it says deals heavy thunder damage, 50 damage to me does not seem heavy. It is nice that it has no cooldown, and you do have a chance to slow, but as I have said before, 40% chance, the odds of slow actually landing isn't that great. Maybe if you have increased accuracy, slow may land, but still I wouldn't recommend this skill, and it is possible that bad connection and slow may be able to stack, thus reducing a monster's speed by 55%, but nonetheless I wouldn't take this skill. Next we have updated software, and this skill is so darn amazing. It gives immunity to burn, daze, stun, and freeze to all your allies, requires cooldown. So this is a team skill that costs 38 stamina, has a 3-turn cooldown, and once again you get burn immunity, stun immunity, daze immunity, immune to freeze. One thing to note is that freeze immunity lasts 3 turns while all the other immunities only last 2 turns. This is a phenomenal supportive skill, this is extremely helpful. So in terms of thunder monsters, currently the 3 monsters that have an AoE stun skill are Nexor, Tempest, and Dr. Victor. Dr. Victor has a slower base speed than D.Vice. Nexor and Tempest have the exact same speed as D.Vice. So if you ever find yourself facing off against one of them in Team Wars, it might be beneficial to run Monster D.Vice, all speedruns, and start the game off with updated software. That way their AoE stun skill won't do you any harm. And in case the enemy has Dr. Victor, Dr. Victor has an AoE blind and burn skill, so your burn immunity would really come in handy. Burn, as you know, is a really good damage over time effect, which takes away 15% of your monster's health for 3 turns, for a grand total of 45% of their life. So if you're facing off against a Dr. Victor, you have to be extremely careful. Now let's go back to this immune to freeze ability. When you're going up against water monsters, if it ever happens to be water and thunder, of course one thing you can do is to bring a water monster to immobilize the enemy monster, then run a thunder attacker, someone like Voltic, and easily wipe out the enemy team. But let's just say that your water monster isn't faster than the enemy water monster. One of the fastest water monsters your enemy can have is a Kaolic. A Kaolic has a speed of 3,465. Well, that's the exact same speed as Monster D.Vice. If you and your opponent have the exact same runes, because you're the attacking player, your Monster D.Vice will go first, and if you go first, you can start the game off with updated software, give your whole team a freeze immunity, stun immunity, burn immunity, daze immunity. The important thing is the freeze immunity and that'll basically render the enemy's KO lick useless. It has an AoE free skill, a single free skill, a skill that gives its team stun immunity, freeze immunity, but whatever, the point is, the enemy KO lick isn't going to be able to immobilize you. So then you can pretty much guarantee that battle will be yours, for water to run a water attacker. Having updated software with his amazing speed is incredible, because the only water monsters, and I'm talking about water because they're the ones that tend to have free skills, the only water monsters faster than D.Vice are Frost Wrath and Blob. Now Blob has a lot of stamina drain skills, there's really no counter to that currently in the game. Frost Wrath has a lot of stamina leak skills, and he does have an AoE freeze, so if you're going up against a Frost Wrath, chances are Monster D.Vice won't help you out too much, but any other water monster, if you have the exact same speed runes on your Monster D.Vice that the enemy has on their water monster, you're gonna go first and you're gonna be able to significantly help out your team. Updated software is a must-have skill. Next off, we have Dazzling Content. Deals low special damage to all enemies, 50% chance of applying damage reduction, and dazing all targets, requires cooldown. This is an AoE skill dealing 30 damage, costing 35 stamina with a 3-turn cooldown. Now if damage reduction and daze was to actually land, this would be pretty good because you'd be reducing the monster's output by 50% and at the same time reducing their accuracy by 25%, but it's a 50% chance of applying damage reduction and dazing all targets, so I really don't recommend running this skill, especially because we have yet to see skills group 3 skills and they're pretty darn amazing. And we start skills group 3 off strong with Reboot Device. Deals moderate thunder damage, may reboot target, requires cooldown. So this targets a single enemy with 40 damage, it costs 28 stamina, and it has a 3-turn cooldown. So rebooted is essentially the same thing as possession, and currently no thunder monster is immune to possession, so this is a really good skill to run. However, if you're going up against an enemy Voltic, Reboot Device wouldn't necessarily help, because Voltic could just attack one of its teammates for one turn, give itself extra turns, and you're pretty much doomed. It's the exact same thing with Zyla, and to an extent the same thing with Mercurius. Mercurius, however, doesn't have infinite attacks, but you do gotta be careful who you use this skill on. But let's say you're facing off against an enemy Tempest or an enemy Nexor, and you start the game off with the Reboot Device, there is a high chance they might do their AoE deny skill on their own team. So that's another really advantageous way to use Monster D.Vice. Same thing if you're facing off against a water monster. Rather than starting off the game with updated software, you can use Reboot Device on the enemy immobilizer and try to see if they can immobilize their own team. It's a really smart strategy. In my opinion, Reboot Device is another must-have skill. Next we have Send to All Members. May haste all allies, may give precision to all allies, adds 50% of stamina to all allies, requires cooldown. You have yourself another team skill that costs 34 stamina with a 3-turn cooldown. And this skill gives you a chance to get haste. Haste increases the monster's speed by 20%, but there's only a 40% chance for it to land. It's kinda like slow. Your whole team gets increased accuracy and you get 50% of your energy recovered. Now this skill is worth testing to see how often haste actually lands. The best thing about this skill right now just appears to be the increased accuracy and the fact that you recover 50% of your energy points. If this skill would have given you something like a damage boost even, I would say this is a must-have skill too, but honestly right now I don't think it's really that needed. Unless haste tends to land more often than it misses, this skill is honestly up to you whether or not you want to run it. One thing to note is that if you were to equip this skill, then you could potentially also use Dazzling Content, because then the damage reduction and daze would be landing. So that's one combo you might want to consider. But now we gotta check out the very last skill, Very Low Battery. Deals moderate special damage, removes 75% of stamina from target, requires cooldown. So you target a single enemy dealing 40 damage, this skill costs 28 stamina, has a 2-turn cooldown, and you drain 75% of stamina points. That's 3/4 of stamina from an enemy monster. On your typical legendary monster, that's equivalent to 105 stamina points. So you take their 140 original, you subtract the 105, the enemy monster is going to be left with 35 stamina points. Now 35 stamina points on just about every monster, that is enough to use one more attack. For some monsters it is enough to use an AoE, for others it's not. Let's take for example Tempest. His Raging Thunderstorm skill, the AoE stun, that costs 37 stamina. When we look at Nexor however, his AoE stun is only 35 stamina. So depending on what monster use Very Low Battery, they may or may not still have an AoE immobilizing skill, but at the very least, most monsters do have a skill that costs less than 35 stamina points, so a lot of monsters will get some sort of attack in. But I will say that overall, Very Low Battery is an extremely good skill, and it's another skill I would recommend. Because let's just take for example this little combo of Reboot Device and Very Low Battery. If you use Reboot Device on an enemy monster, that monster is going to use up stamina to attack their team. And on the following turn, if you do Very Low Battery on that same monster that you possessed, your typical legendary monster would have anywhere from 0 to like 10 stamina points. So let's go back to the skill from skills group 1. If you ran Low Battery, after that enemy monster recharges, you could drain their stamina again with Low Battery, which is really darn fantastic. You would have essentially immobilized that monster for 3 full turns. The first turn you possess him, second turn you drain 75% stamina, the next turn you drain 50% stamina. Without a doubt, Monster D.Vice is a really top tier monster. Now going back to the skills, my recommendation are Reboot Device, Very Low Battery, updated software, and from skills group 1, low battery. Some people may want to run send to all members, but I really don't think it's needed. Yes, you get increased precision, yes, you recover stamina, yes, there is also that possibility to get haste, but still I think the other skills are more significant and more useful. For runes, without a doubt, this is a monster that you want to give 3 speed runes. You really have to take advantage of this monster's base speed, and giving him 3 speed runes will allow you to do that. Anything else won't really help you. This is certainly a great addition to the Thunder monsters. I really do believe he's a top tier monster, and it's kind of weird saying that considering he's a Thunder monster, and right now Voltic obviously dominates the Thunder category, but Voltic is an attacker. This monster is more on the supportive side of the spectrum, and I'm not here to say that one monster is better than the other. Voltic obviously works if you have another mobilizer on your team. Let's jump back to the example of a team wars involving water and thunder. If you have a water mobilizer that can guarantee that Voltic gets a churn in and it won't be immobilized, then obviously run Voltic. But if for team wars, say your best water monster is a Varna and the enemy has a Kaolic, but you do have the exact same speed runes as your enemy, then run Monster D.Vice with all speed runes and you will go first and that match will be yours. So you gotta pick and choose your battles, but Monster D.Vice is certainly a good monster. And a little on that Voltic and Monster D.Vice, having the skill very low battery and using it against a Voltic or a Zyla can really help you out, because that'll significantly reduce the number of attacks they do on you, and even after they recharge, if you go with my skill set, you'll be able to follow it up with low battery. So this little monster creature device here is not to be underestimated. It is an extremely good monster. And with that being said, that is going to conclude my analysis on Monster D.Vice, and now I want to hear from all of you. What do you guys think about this monster? Do you think he's a good monster? Do you think he's not so good? How do you think he compares to the other Thunder monsters? Like always, let me know in the comments below. Also be sure to let me know who you want me to analyze next. And with that being said, I hope everyone has a good amazing day or a good amazing night. Remember to dream big and pursue your passions.